Laila Abubakari is in charge of communication at the Electricity Company of Ghana. She's joined us on the line. Madam, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So what was your focus today?
The orders for this week have been clear. It says payment or disconnection. And so that's been the target.
So which areas did you go to? Which institutions did you look at? And what were some of the things you found?
So the National Task Force, which is quite large, was divided into 9 teams this morning. So they've been spread across the Greater Accra region. Within the Greater Accra region, ECG has about 4 regions: the Accra East, Accra West, Tema.
Leila, it appears there's I don't know, you're speaking from a windy area. I don't know what you can do.
Yeah, because we are standing by the roadside right now in front of Electrochem at Ada. We've just finished an operation and when the call came in, and so I'm walking towards.
Okay, so the sea waves are causing problem, but just turn your back to the waves for me so that it will help us. Thank you. So you can continue with your narration while you do that.
Okay. So, like I was saying, the National Task Force has been divided into a number of teams, and they've been given list of companies to deal with. And so I've been with a team in Ada, but I've been keeping up with the rest of the teams in the region and across our operational regions.
So let's look
It's been very eventful.
So let's look at what you have done with the team that you are with in Ada. Then we talk about the things that happened in Accra, the major ones. So what are some of the key places you went to in Ada? What were some of the things you found? How big were the figures that we are discussing?
So in Ada, we were hoping to cover at least 10 companies, but unfortunately, we haven't been able to do that. We went first to a company belonging to a gentleman, a businessman called Kemat. He owns the Kemat Hotel. He has another facility that is like a recreational bar area, and he has I think it's a fish store, a cold store they call it. And he owed about 220,000 Ghana cedis. And when we arrived, he wasn't around, and so we went ahead with the disconnection from the source. And then we proceeded to a farm, a banana farm, where they owed about 150,000 cedis. They had settled part of the bill last week, but we were asked to go for the rest of the money this week. They weren't able to pay until we disconnected them from source as well. Then we went to Fossil, which is the fish farm, also disconnected them for owing about 120 to 150,000 cedis. They have, some of these companies have more than 1 meter, and so you'd have to do an addition of all the costs and debts on these meters to ascertain. So I'll be giving you rough figures, not exact numbers.
Yeah,
so
that's fine.
The company owed about 150,000, and we disconnected them. And then we headed straight to Electrochem Songo, which is a salt manufacturing company, and they owe over 300,000 cedis. We got to the gates and they wouldn't allow us in. Apparently, that's what our regional officers have been going through for several months now. And so we have just disconnected them from source as well. So that's what's been happening in Ada.
What about Accra? What's the update that you received?
Well, Accra has also been interesting. Top on the list is the incident that happened at Ghana Post, where our team was there to retrieve an amount of 89,000. And when they weren't able to get the amount, they had to disconnect them. I think things didn't go well, and the staff were prevented from leaving the premises of the Ghana Post Office in Accra. But later on, they were allowed to leave. Ghana Post still hasn't settled the bill yet, so I think they are still off.
So you mean the Ghana Post head office, as in Ghana Post Office head office in Accra?
In Accra, yes, please.
And when you say they didn't let your men leave or a team leave, they what? They locked them up?
I wasn't there, and so I cannot say in what manner in which they were prevented. But if the gates were open, I'm sure they would have left because they wanted to leave. I'm sure the gates were shut, and they probably prevented them physically from entering their cars and driving off. So I received a call to intercede, and then I think a few minutes later they called to say they had been released.
When your people do the disconnection, is there any way that the institution that has been disconnected can reconnect, or you are the only ones who can come back and do the connection?
Yes, it's supposed to be only us who have the authority to reconnect. But there are other people who have gone to electrical school and they have some good knowledge. And so sometimes they're able to get people to reconnect them. When we find out that you have connected yourself back to the grid, we take you through a procedure. However, this time, we don't want that incident to happen, where when we disconnect you from the meter, it's fairly easy to reconnect. So now we are disconnecting you right from the source, which is the pole that supplies you electricity. We take the source line and then we take a few other feeders and then we leave.
Let's talk about the last place, and the irony will not be lost on anyone listening to us, that your team found illegal connection happening at a police barracks. Share more, please.
So the team was there to serve notice to the Osu Police Station and Barracks. I think the administration block had a bill of about 40,000, and then the barracks had a bill of about 60,000 in total. And so we weren't intending to disconnect them. We're just serving them notice to make the payment or come to us so that we have an arrangement and then pay for them to pay the bill. So while they were on the ground, they realized some of the lines looked irregular. And so they traced and later found out that 3 of the blocks had been connected directly to the grid without passing through our meters. And that was when they sounded an alarm. In that case, we have no option but to disconnect. And so that was what happened.
Educate me, but do police barracks pay for power? I thought these are part of some government institutions that may be exempt, or they are supposed to pay through an indirect means.
Every government, I do not know how the police pays. They are supposed to pay their own bill. But I don't know if they have an arrangement with maybe a financial institution within the government system to make payments. But if their name is on our list, then it means that they're supposed to pay us the money. They owe us money, more or less. So who is paying, really, we cannot say. But the police is on the list, and so we went there.
So that police,
and we weren't going to disconnect them.
But that police barracks now, they will be sleeping in Doomsor tonight.
3 of the blocks, 3 out of the 12 or so blocks there would be in darkness.